Listen to me carefully. 2026 is already being written, not in some distant abstract way, but in the choices you make, the habits you repeat, the moments you ignore. And here's the harsh truth most people refuse to admit. If you're waiting, you are already late. Every day you hesitate, every moment you put off a decision, is time silently reinforcing the life you already live. Waiting feels safe. Waiting feels like planning, but the cost of waiting is invisible, until one day you wake up and realize an entire year has passed with nothing changed. Do you want to know why this matters so much? Because time is not neutral. It doesn't reward potential. It doesn't reward intention. Time compounds whatever behavior you feed it. If you feed it distraction, procrastination, and half-effort, your life compounds into exactly what you don't want. If you feed it focus, consistency, and bold action, it compounds into unstoppable momentum. And the frightening part is that most people feed it the wrong thing without even realizing it. Think about it. Every year, millions of people make resolutions, set goals, or dream about change, but only a fraction of them see results. Why? Because most of them wait for the right moment to start. They wait until the motivation hits, they wait until the stars align, they wait until they feel ready, and while they wait, life doesn't pause. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and by the time 2026 arrives, their habits, their standards, and their identity are already locked in. Waiting is a trap disguised as preparation, and it silently steals the momentum that could have changed everything. Here's the truth you need to feel in your body. Every second that passes without action is reinforcing the same patterns, the same identity, the same version of yourself that you've been struggling to escape. If you want a different 2026, you cannot wait for the year to do it for you. You cannot wait for circumstances to force your hand. You cannot wait for motivation, clarity, or inspiration. Momentum belongs to those who act before the world tells them to. Winners don't wait for urgency. They create urgency inside themselves, and they use it to propel them forward. Ask yourself this: if you keep waiting, what will your life look like a year from now? Will it feel like progress, or will it feel like regret? Will you be standing taller, stronger, and unstoppable, or will you be wishing you had acted sooner? That question is the fire I want you to feel right now. Because urgency is not a threat. It's a gift. It is the energy that tells you your future is waiting, and it can only be claimed by action. The moment you feel that tension, that unease, that pressure, it's your signal. Move now. Decide now. Start now. And remember this, the longer you wait, the steeper the climb becomes. Momentum doesn't just appear magically, it must be built. Every day you hesitate, it becomes harder, not easier. But the moment you act, the mountain starts to shift. The momentum begins. And that first step, that first decision, is the spark that turns an ordinary year into an extraordinary one. Now, I want you to take a moment and look at yourself honestly. Not at who you want to be, not at what you hope will happen, but at who you are right now. No judgment, no excuses, just raw awareness. Because the truth is, most people never pause long enough to see themselves clearly. They're too busy blaming circumstances, waiting for motivation, or hoping the world will bend to their desires. And while they do that, the future they dream about slips quietly further out of reach. Here's the key. Self-awareness is the foundation of change. Until you see the patterns, habits, and choices that are keeping you stuck, you cannot create something new. Ask yourself, what am I tolerating that I shouldn't? Where am I compromising when I know I could rise? Which habits, routines, or relationships are quietly holding me back from a life I know I'm capable of creating? These questions are not comfortable, but comfort has never created transformation. Growth begins when you confront the truth you've been avoiding. Most people mistake busyness for progress. They fill their days with tasks, distractions, and noise, thinking that action equals advancement. But action without awareness is wasted energy. You can be doing 1,000 things and still be moving backward. Real progress requires clarity. Real progress requires seeing not just what you do, but why you do it, and what it's producing in your life. When you see it clearly, the choice becomes obvious. You can either keep feeding the same identity, the same habits, the same results, or you can decide to act differently, to step into the version of yourself that commands respect, energy, and focus. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The longer you avoid self-awareness, the longer you delay empowerment. Every ignored habit, every excuse, every small compromise quietly compounds. By the time the urgency hits, you're no longer reacting. You're entrenched. But when you pause, reflect, and confront the reality of who you are, something shifts. You begin to see the opportunities you've been blind to. You begin to see the leverage you already have. You begin to see the invisible patterns that are sabotaging your results. And here's the liberating part. Self-awareness is power. The moment you recognize what's really happening in your life, you gain the ability to change it. Clarity is the precursor to action. Awareness is the precursor to momentum. When you combine awareness with the courage to act, transformation becomes inevitable. You're no longer a passenger in your life. You become the driver, fully conscious, fully capable, and fully ready to step into your highest potential. So ask yourself right now, am I truly seeing myself, or am I living in comfortable illusions? Be honest. The answer determines whether 2026 becomes another year of the same or the start of something extraordinary. Awareness is uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. And it is the first real step toward taking control of your future. Here's the truth that most people never fully grasp. Your life isn't changed by luck, timing, or circumstances. It's changed by decisions, standards, and the energy you bring to each moment. You don't need more motivation. You need more clarity about who you are becoming. And the moment you realize this, something shifts inside you. You step out of the trap of waiting and into the driver's seat of your own life. Let me break it down for you. Most people spend their days reacting to life, letting conditions and emotions dictate their actions. They wait for opportunities to appear. They wait for approval. They wait for perfect conditions. And while they wait, life compounds against them. But you, if you make the choice today, you can flip that script entirely. You can step into the arena of life fully alive, fully conscious, and fully capable of creating the results you want. That's empowerment. That's identity in action. Empowerment comes from realizing that standards, not goals, drive results. Goals are external. They can inspire you for a moment, but they cannot sustain you. Standards are internal. They define how you show up in every decision, every interaction, every habit. When you raise your standards, you raise your life. You don't chase results. You align your identity with the person who naturally produces the results. And when your actions finally match your identity, motivation becomes irrelevant. Discipline becomes effortless. Momentum becomes inevitable. Now I want you to feel this in your body. Imagine the energy you could generate if you refuse to tolerate mediocrity. Imagine the clarity that comes when you decide that half-effort, excuses, and procrastination are no longer acceptable. Imagine the confidence that arises when your daily actions are consistent with your highest standards. That is power. That is freedom. That is the unshakable belief that no circumstance, no delay, and no fear can prevent you from creating the life you are capable of. And here's the most empowering part. The tools to build this life aren't outside of you. They're inside you. Your decisions, your choices, and your willingness to act are more powerful than any external factor. The moment you take ownership of that, nothing is outside of your influence. You can create momentum in your habits. You can generate energy in your state. You can transform small daily actions into unstoppable results over time. Empowerment isn't given, it's claimed. And it's claimed that the moment you decide to step fully into your standards, fully into your identity, and fully into action. So ask yourself right now, what is one decision I can make today that would fundamentally change the trajectory of my year? Not tomorrow, not next week. One decision that proves to yourself, once and for all, that you are not a bystander in your own life. That decision is the spark. That decision is the moment you move from waiting to acting. And when you take that step, everything begins to shift. The fear fades, the momentum builds, and the life you imagine starts to become your reality. I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath and imagine December 31st, 2026. Picture yourself in vivid detail. Where are you? Who's around you? What does your energy feel like? Are you standing tall, confident, unstoppable, smiling because you look back at a year where you finally kept your word to yourself? Or are you slouched, frustrated, wishing you had started earlier, filled with regret over all the opportunities you let slip by? Hold that image. Really feel it. The tension, the excitement, the pride. It's all real because it can become real. That future you isn't just a dream. It's the consequence of decisions you make right now. Every choice you make today is either a brick building that lifts you to the life you want, or a brick reinforcing the version of yourself that stays stuck. And here's the catch. The bricks you lay in comfort are invisible. They feel safe, but they build nothing extraordinary. The bricks you lay in action, when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, or even scary, are the ones that form the foundation for your breakthrough. Now, ask yourself, what is the one action I can take today that my future self will thank me for? Not tomorrow, not after the holidays, not when the stars align. Today, one decision, one action, one step that might feel small right now, but compounds over the next 12 months into momentum that can't be stopped. Maybe it's starting that habit you've been procrastinating. Maybe it's sending that email. making that call, or finally having that hard conversation. Maybe it's committing to your health, your discipline, or your craft in a way that demands respect from yourself. Here's the key. Action transforms visualization into reality. You can dream about a better version of yourself endlessly, but dreams without action are illusions. The moment you take one deliberate step, something shifts. Your brain aligns with your future identity. Your nervous system begins to believe that the new you is possible. Confidence doesn't appear magically. It is earned through proof. Every small action reinforces the vision you just imagined. And here's what most people miss. Momentum compounds quietly, invisibly, until suddenly it's unstoppable. The effort that feels invisible today becomes the results that feel undeniable tomorrow. So don't wait for clarity or the perfect plan. Don't wait until the world makes it convenient for you. Decide on one action, commit to it, and act on it now. The small choice today is what makes December 31st, 2026 feel victorious instead of regretful. Open your eyes now and feel that sense of possibility, the energy, the tension, the excitement. That is what action creates. That is the bridge between the life you imagine and the life you actually live. And from this moment forward, every decision, every habit, every action becomes a building block of the unstoppable version of yourself you saw in that visualization. Today is your launch pad. Today is where it begins. Here's another truth. Waiting is safe, but safe is costly. Comfort is silent, but it is the most expensive teacher. Every day you choose comfort, you delay the life you are capable of creating. Every day you take action, you reinforce a new identity. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is moving forward despite it. Fear is not a stop sign. It's a signal that you're stepping into a higher level of yourself. And the moment you act despite fear, identity shifts permanently. The people who succeed in 2026 will not be those who had the easiest path. They will be those who chose action when no one else did. They chose discipline when comfort whispered. They chose standards over excuses. So here's the moment that separates those who watch life happen from those who create it. You cannot wait for the year to change. You cannot wait for motivation to appear. You cannot wait for the perfect time. Every day you delay, every day you postpone, you're allowing your old identity to silently dictate your future. And the cost of waiting isn't obvious, it's invisible. Until one day you wake up and realize that 12 months have passed and nothing is different. But it doesn't have to be that way. The future doesn't belong to the prepared, it belongs to the decided. It belongs to the person who takes ownership of their life today, in the uncomfortable, inconvenient moments. And that person isn't extraordinary because they have special talent or luck. They're extraordinary because they refuse to wait. They act now, even when the fear is real, even when the doubt is loud, even when no one is watching. Here's what I want you to feel in this moment. Power. Possibility. Close your eyes for a second and imagine the version of yourself who didn't wait. The version of yourself who decided today, right now, to raise the bar. This version of you doesn't negotiate with excuses. This version of you doesn't ask for permission. This version of you keeps promises to yourself and takes action, even when it's uncomfortable. Can you see it? Can you feel it? That version of you already exists, but it only becomes real the moment you act. Now open your eyes and ask yourself this question. What is the one thing I can do right now today that my future self will thank me for? Not tomorrow, not next week, not when the calendar changes. Today, one action, one decision. One promise kept to yourself sets the chain reaction for everything else. Maybe it's a call you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a habit you've been putting off. Maybe it's deciding to finally honor your standards and stop negotiating with your time, energy, and focus. Because here's the truth. You cannot escape. The life you will live in 2026 is not determined by the year itself. It is determined by the choices you make right now, the courage you summon, the actions you take, the decisions you make when it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, and unseen. That is where momentum begins. That is where identity shifts. That is where extraordinary results are born. And let me tell you something else. This is just the beginning. Today is your launch pad. This one decision, this one commitment will ripple across every area of your life. The energy you feel now will compound. The confidence you build now will compound. The discipline you forge now will compound. And when people look at your life in 2026, they'll call it luck. But you'll know the truth. It started with a single decision you made when no one was watching. So I'm challenging you right now. Stand up, decide, act, don't wait. Raise your standards, commit to your actions, and own your future. Today is the day you stop negotiating with yourself and start creating a life that is bigger, bolder, and more extraordinary than you've allowed yourself to believe possible. Your 2026 starts today, and it starts with you.